Junkanoo. We are considering a new display for Junior Junkanoo. We are considering a new arena for Junkanoo in total. To be honest with you, yeah, you really have. We've outgrown Bay Street. People have known this for a long time. It does impact commerce. It does impact the flow of things happening in the city. And so we are next year going to very early look at perhaps Junior Junkanoo maybe going to the stadium where we have the carnival, and we got lit parking. You got parking for about 15,000 cars. We have a sub police station. You have appropriate bathrooms. You got vending. Everything is there. The carnival right next door. We're thinking of that for Junior Junkanoo next year.
Minister, there's always talk though about these buildings on Bay Street and how they help to amplify the sound and the rhythms bouncing off the walls reverberate through the souls and the bones. Are we going to be able to create the same kind of atmosphere down there at the stadium if we decide to go that way?
Yes. Nowadays with sound engineering, it is spectacular what you can do. When you look at what live entertainers do in parks, in massive fields, in various areas, it's just a matter of how you set up the speakers, how you pipe in the sound, how you contain the sound, and that could be done in a variety of ways. We have with me tonight as my special guest Fernando Cabral. He is the vice president of marketing for Sony International. I spent last week a few days with them in Miami, and that's exactly what we were looking at. They have these cones that you place in various areas that capture sound and send sound back. And so we got to look at the technology behind it. We know you look at Rio Carnival that goes along huge empty swaths of street. We look at Carnival that is on in Trinidad, which is on a huge savanna. Of course, savanna means large flat piece of land.
Yes.
There are no trees on the savanna. There are no buildings on the savanna. Okay, so it's a tradition we have here, but we're going to the point now where the staging of this national treasure may need its own home.
Now, Mr. Minister, we and I say we because all of us are Junkanoos. We've been able to effectively improve on the costuming, the music, the dance. In essence, what we have really is theater in the streets.
Yes.
How are we going to export this phenomenon called Junkanoo? What plans are there, if any?
Well, and that shows you and I do look alike and are related, and we think alike, because that's really what comes next. It's now time to take this to the world. And so what we're going to do, there is a culture all around called festival culture. Festival culture is also a huge business around the world. All of the leaders of the Afro-Caribbean nation states met 2 months ago in Brussels, talking about the same thing, how to share these identities with the world. And so as soon as next year, the Ministry of Sports and Culture, under the direction of some icons we have within the culture community, will embark upon the export and exposure of this wonderful craft. And I tell people, we have something that no one else has, and that makes it very, very special.
Talking about special, so let's talk a little bit about the possible commercialization. We look around, we see the banners that say SO, we see maybe a few signs here and there, little signs, but we don't see any t-shirts, and we don't see any caps, we don't see any pins, any buttons, any jackets.
Yeah.
How are we going to capitalize on all of this that we have here? We have tourists coming off the ships.
Correct.
We have persons coming from the Family Islands. How are we going to capitalize on all of this and put something back into Junkanoo? And
let me tell you, I'll give you an example. The tree lighting ceremony we had down here a few weeks ago, and there was a cruise ship staying overnight. 400, I think, people from Italia came, and 40 ladies came over to me. I was wearing a Junkanoo hat, and the lady said, "Look, I want to buy a hat." And she's like, "Well," I said, "Well, I don't know where they're selling them." She said, "No, I'll buy that one that you have." So I told her, I said, "Well, no." She said, "Look, I'll give you $200 for the hat." I said, "No." I took the hat off, I gave it to her. But I'm just confirming what you're saying. Once people see this craft, they get involved in it, they want a piece of it, they want the memorabilia, they want the feeling, they want something to take home, to call their own. There's a value to this part of culture. and the commercialization is where we have to realize that value. I think getting into festival culture brings that about because it extends the period and allows multiple opportunities for commercialization. These one-night events really are not enough to give economic models to say they could justify you spending $10,000-$20,000 to try and come out one night for Boxing Day and sell your 4,500 hats, and you get stuck with an inventory. Whereas now you see we've moved to the 12 days of Junkanoo Festival. You will have 12 to 20 events to sell those 5,000 caps you have. I guarantee you will sell out of all of your caps in a festival culture.
Minister, it's your first time as Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture. It's only been several months, and I've already heard of and seen some innovations